Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sasha Farbach. France is on the brink of political and economic turmoil as Prime Minister François Bayrou faces a confidence vote on September 8th that could topple his government. And today we speak with Romain Le Quiniou from Eurocreative about the stakes for France's economy and the future of President Macron's presidency. Good to have you back on the program. Let's begin. So today is the day. It'll be around 3 p.m. when we have deliberations in the National Assembly. What's, if anything, here is the likely outcome? Will Bayrou survive, or is this the final day for him?
Looks like the final day for Prime Minister Bayrou, and we have to say that at the moment there is no hope, even from Bayrou himself, that he can be saved. So the most likely scenario, 99% of chance, is that Prime Minister Bayrou will be out of job tonight. It can take long, but what will be interesting to see is especially if in the political parties there is unity when it comes to the vote, especially to the center bloc. Will they all support Bayrou, even if they know he will fall? And also from the Socialist Party as well as from the Republicans, will they support or will they be divided? Because this will have an impact also on the next government and how easy or not it can be to form a new government.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess that's the next big question as well. And if we're looking at this as well, Bayrou, if we include him, that would be 5 prime ministers in less than about 2 years. I mean, it does not look stable at all. So what about constitutionally here? I mean, we've already had those elections last year. Macron was disappointed after European Union elections there in the parliament. Would we see something like that now? How does that work constitutionally in the next sort of few days here?
Well, I think we collectively start to understand how bad it was to make the decision to make a dissolution, because the Fifth Republic Constitution works as long as there is a majority in the parliament. And we can criticize, of course, the fact that France is too presidentialized, that the majority is something that is not functioning. Fair enough, but at the moment, what we see is the limit of the Fifth Republic, which is that when you don't have a majority and you want to govern, then there is a big problem, because if your parties, both from the majority or the relative majority, let's say, and the opposition are not able to behave responsibly, then you just don't have solutions. So this is what we see today. Now we have a solution. I mean, we have 2 solutions. One, the parties collectively continue to behave themselves as they want to gain power next time in 2027, and then they will not make any compromise, or they collectively join effort, find some consensus, find some responsible behavior, because this is in the interest of their electorate, of their citizens, and at the end of the country. So they have choice. Now we will see which choice they choose, and their choice will basically decide where we go. On the option 1, we will go back to elections. Macron will be forced to call early elections, or maybe we can have a government for at least a few months that can, pass the budget, which is the most important thing for France today.
Mm-hmm. 2 points there as well. I mean, you make it sound simple and easy, but I think politically as well, especially for President Macron, I mean, either outcome here is a difficult one, surely. How, let's say, damaged will he be by the end of today? And if he does push for a new prime minister, what's that to say that this whole thing won't repeat itself in another few months?
Yeah, this is clearly a likely possibility. And, when you have a prime minister, you can always say that it is his fault. When there is no more government, then you are in first sight and you are in the first seat even. So this is the problem of Macron, especially that we will have in France some quite important protests in the next few days, starting with one on Wednesday, which is supported by the far left and potentially, fueled by some foreign powers, which is basically calling French to block the country. And then on the 18th of September, we will have also the syndicates, the trade unions, that are calling for a full blockade of the country. So once again, Macron there will face in the first seat this protest movement. And this is not a good solution for him. And now he has a pressure to find a government that can last for at least a few months. And this is not a given. We know that he has used already quite a lot of prime ministers. And, you have less and less people that would like to be a prime minister in France. That's simple as this. So we will see how it evolves. We will see what is the decision of President Macron. Will he put his, right arm, for example, Minister of Defense, Sébastien Lecornu, will he accept it? Will they be able to convince a relative majority from the center bloc as well, the Republicans, and to have the socialists backing up the budget? Or will he be forced to make a dissolution once again? Because frankly speaking, the solution right now is not easy, as you said, and we know that both the extreme left and the extreme right, which are very powerful in this hanged parliament, they want President Macron to be just blocked, trapped, cornered, and to force him to quit.
Also, what's interesting, I think, also for our viewers, let's look at a bit of the reasoning behind this, the genesis of where we're standing here on this day today. It's about these austerity cuts. It's about this, I think, 40 billion euros that the Prime Minister had suggested. Financially, it's not looking too good in France. Haven't had a balanced budget since, I think, the late 70s. If we're looking at also France's deficit, that's around almost 6%. That's double the EU, what's allowed really by the European Union. So it doesn't seem that this is all Bayrou's fault or Macron's fault, this is a major problem. So where do we address this, and what does this mean for France's long-term financial credibility?
Yes, absolutely. We cannot say that it's Macron's fault or Bayrou's fault, but at the same time, they have a big responsibility in it because they've been in power for the past 7-8 years, and they've been in supporting majorities for much longer. So yes, not all their fault, but the fault of continuous governments, of continuous prime ministers, presidents that have not tackled the budget seriously. And now we have a problem indeed. The problem is simple for France. The solutions are not, but the problem is simple. We spend more than we earn. And so there is a problem if you continue to do it for years and years and years. And the second issue we've been facing over the past few decades is our politicians were unable to pass serious and not so pleasant reforms because they always just backtracked against movements, against citizens that are not willing to make some efforts or sacrifices. And we can understand that, of course, but at the moment, there is a big paradox in France. On the one side, you have people mostly afraid about the situation in France. And we can see collectively as a society, there is this perception that life is more and more expensive, then it's more and more difficult to find prosperity and all these things. But at the same time, same people, same citizens are saying that they are not in favor of reforms, that they are not in favor of working longer because this is simply the situation as it is. The French pension system today is pushing an extremely difficult part of the budget, and if you don't convince the people that they will have to work longer to save this system, then you cannot do it. You are just failing. So this is the problem today. We need to find solutions. Politicians have to convince the citizens, but citizens are not on the same page today. They don't believe that this is necessary, and what they want is that their politicians deliver on concrete results, which is partly also giving back the prosperity. So I'm afraid that at the moment there is just non-clarity from our society, both the citizens and the politicians, on what the priorities are and how to do it. And this is partially why we are in this situation at the political level, and we are so divided at the moment and unable to find any consensus at the political level.
There's also a lot of emotions involved. As you said, it's highly complicated. A lot of, let's say, reasonableness needs to occur here. We're wondering if that really will happen. Curious, one of the potential outcomes here is that the National Rally, Le Pen's party, they're already doing well. This is a party that's seen to be in the ascendancy. At the same time, the far left also supportive. But realistically here, I know that this is a lot of populism, it's a lot of emotions, but do they actually have, let's say, a better plan to fix all this? Do they stand on solid ground? Do they have proper policy? Or is this all just, let's say, emotions to try and get the government to change? How do you assess the far left and the far right in terms of their financial astuteness in all this?
Well, let's put it clearly, the far left has still some, communist and collectivized incentives and vision of a very outdated world and economy. So I think that we can rule out this question. Maybe the far right is a bit more interesting because they used to have a very social policy oriented, and this is still the case. When you look at the campaigns, this is still the case. They are still promising a lot of money to a lot of people, the electorate mostly, and they say that they can fix the situation by giving us purchasing power to everyone, more or less. So this look like very easy, very simple, very populistic solutions, but at the same time they are trying to make this big equilibrium where they try to convince the economic, the entrepreneurs that they are the solutions, and you can see that they are reaching out more and more to everyone in the business sector, saying that they can be serious, they can be trusted, and all these things. When we see and when we hear the president of the party, Jordan Bardella, speaking, when we see the programmatic positions, the National Rally today is still on a very irresponsible path, saying that it's not a necessity to raise the age of the pension, austerity is not the solution, and all these things. Well, fair enough. I know that their electorate is not in favor of these things, and we can understand that. But at the same time, we need to find solutions, and solutions are not to say to people that they can retire at 60 years old and we can just give them money so they can have more money to buy things. This is not the situation where we are heading to. And if they don't have the strength to convince their electorate that the situation is real, how could they be serious as government and prime ministers? I have serious doubts on both of these forces, to be very honest. And I think they also have doubts, and this is why it's dangerous for them also. Of course they want President Macron to resign, of course they want the government to fall, but at the same time, frankly speaking, if we ask those people, and especially the National Rally, I'm not so sure that they would like to be in power today, because it means a lot of difficult choices, and I know that they know they are not able to do it.
Mm-hmm. And one thing towards the end, I'm also curious because, I mean, France, obviously, it matters to the world and Europe. It's also a big defense player. It matters also for our region here in Central Eastern Europe, partnerships, and also with Ukraine. If we're looking at a hung parliament, if we're looking at early elections, a lot of internal domestic problems, how much will that impact France's ability to really stand stronger in Europe and also to continue its commitments in terms of defense for NATO and for other kind of partnerships?
As we can see, if we don't have government, the budget is blocked. And if the budget is blocked, the increasing budget for the defense that we promised to ourselves and we promised to our allies, Europeans and Ukrainians, then it is stuck. And this is one of the main issues right now, is that the things that we need to do, raise the defense budget, raise the attention on the defense matters, it's simply not possible to pursue. So this is a problem, and this is also a problem of credibility for France, that we are not able to find political majority, that we are not able to find the money for our budget. It means that France is maybe not in the position to be a leader, and we know that Paris, we know that Macron has been trying to put itself in the shoes of the European leader. And we can see that again recently with the coalition of the willing. But at the moment, the situation is extremely complicated. And one thing that we don't really understand in France is that our problems are not only national, which means that if we have difficulties at the political or at the financial level, it has European
on all different levels. Yeah, as you said right there, Romain, I'll have to interrupt you. It's on many levels. This is going to be impacting France and the world. We'll look how it plans out tonight. Thank you so much, Romain Le Quiniou there. Appreciate all the insights today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching World Talks. There's more coming up right here on TVP World, so don't go away. Goodbye.